Howdy, y'all. Good on. It is the weekend. Hope you're going to have a great one. Let's get into some fun, interesting, and big things, some mega things in Australia. You'll see what I mean. Let's take a look. So starting off with an interesting question. I see these sometimes, and I do find them kind of fascinating. Someone asked, how come there's no cities/large settlements in these parts of South Australia and Victoria? They seem pretty livable to me. Now, of course, we do have a decent-sized city and metro area here in Adelaide, but it is pretty isolated, right? We have this whole peninsula. We have this big section here on the state border. And then, of course, over here into, west of Adelaide, over here, again, it looks pretty uninhabited. Now, what would I know? I wouldn't know anything. So if there's any reasons why you think these places aren't very inhabited, go ahead and let me know. Let's see what the comments say. The land on the left is the Eyre Peninsula. It's the largest town. Its largest town, Port Lincoln, was surveyed and optioned for the state capital in 1836. The port was deemed unsuitable as it lacked sufficient water resources. Okay, so that's over here, right? Wow, okay. Lack sufficient water resources. To add to that real quick, you know what sucks about, technology and stuff? And I'm just a regular person. I've never studied this stuff. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a regular guy. I'm just talking here. Doesn't it suck that we can't better use ocean water? I mean, look at how much of the planet is made up of water, right? You got to understand, without any approach to this and any critical thought or deep knowledge, on the surface, you look at a place surrounded by water. It does sound kind of funny to say, it's too dry and there's not enough water around. Why is that? Do we not have, as a human civilization, desalinization processes for salt water, right? I don't know. This is something I've never looked into. So like I said, I'm just simply innocently asking this question. But wouldn't that be nice, right? If we could just find better uses when you're literally on a coast and you need water. York Peninsula has no permanent water course, making it unsuitable for any large settlements. It does have pastoral lands, though, as you can see in the satellite imagery. Okay, so that would be this one. See if we can... Oh, it doesn't let us zoom in. The third area has a bunch of large settlements for Australian standards due to its milder climate and moderate rainfall. Notably, Mount Gambier, which is the second most populated city in South Australia. Let me ask you a different question. Considering Australia's history, why should there be any large settlements there? Every large city is a capital of a state/territory, has a significant port, a good water supply, and a form of a river. I mean, that's a good point. There doesn't need to be big cities here. It is just kind of fun when you see this question posed, and I guess seeing the answers as to why there's not, right? You already have Adelaide, and that serves this kind of whole greater region as a bigger city. We also have another perspective here. The only reason the third area, as you describe, it doesn't have a big city plus million plus population around it is because Australia had settled on the 7 colonies and left it at that. So that area being split between Victoria and South Australia didn't need to develop a city around the port at Portland, as they had already had Melbourne and Adelaide going. If Australia was divided up further into smaller colonies, no doubt this area would be more populated with a capital based here. And see, that's kind of something to take into consideration as well, is how things naturally evolved a long time ago. Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and certain areas remain kind of more empty because there was never a need for a big settlement there. So let's pose another question. Why don't more people live in this part of Australia, especially since the weather's more tropical there? So that's what I've learned as well, is when we're talking about North Australia, way up here, way different than way down here, especially if we're talking about Victoria, Tasmania, right? This is hot all year round. You don't really get 4 seasons. You just get kind of hot and dry, or hot and wet, or maybe hot and really wet. I'm not really sure. But yeah, you could say it's very tropical. I also think that there's a lot going on up here when it comes to the dangerous stuff, right? Saltwater crocs, probably a bunch of crazy stuff in the waters. All right, moving on to something I can admit I've never seen before. I've seen quite a few ways to relieve yourself in the restroom, but this is one I have not. I visited your beautiful country and had a wonderful time, but I didn't know how the F to piss on this thing. Apologies if I gave anyone pissy feet. Wow, this is kind of interesting. Is this water like flowing down, by the way? I wonder if we do have these somewhere. I've never encountered one of these. What would be like the name for this? Like a pee fountain or something? You just, I'm going to assume you just, where do you stand? I feel like standing on here would be weird, right? Do you just pee onto this wall of water and it washes it down? What the hell am I looking at? I was in Australia last month. I didn't realize you were supposed to stand on the grate and piss. I stood back on the tile and another fellow came in and stood on the grate. Oh no. You are supposed to stand on that. No way. See, I would have felt weird just stepping on that. Okay. I said, I meant no disrespect, sir. I didn't realize you were supposed to stand on the grate. And he said, that's okay, mate. I'm just jealous of the blokes who can't stand back there. What a wonderful bunch of people. That is awesome. That sounds like a meeting an Australian would go. What a legend. You lay down and poke your penis through the grate. I'm a cleaner and can 100% agree that it doesn't matter where you piss because everyone just pisses on the floor anyway. All right, now I know you don't have to hear this from me, especially if you're watching from Australia where it is hot, it is summer, and the sun is always hitting hard in Australia, right? But just a reminder, as always, sensitive viewers, look away. We're going to be looking at Sunburn. This is a reminder to use sunscreen. The sun ain't messing around this year. I feel horrible for this guy. I've had the misfortune of getting some wicked burns, maybe like 2 or 3 times in my life. And I've had it like all up here, all kind of on my shoulders and upper arms, only a couple times. And it was, I mean, I really can't think of anything worse. I really can't. It is hell. It is excruciating. Every movement hurts it. You're just baking hot all the time. And anything you use to treat it usually hurts as well. It's miserable. So, yeah, don't get burnt. It ain't fun. But, yeah, there's a reminder. Holy smokes, I feel horrible for this guy. Now, of course, I'm into learning about different foods and different cultures, different countries' foods. I've become very fond of a lot of different Australian famous foods. This might be a little too Australian for me, though. Take a look. The ultimate fairy snag. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. All right, the future is here in Australia. Look at this. So you got your snag and you put it in the sauce bot. You hit red for tomato and what looks to be green for mustard. That is just hilarious and ridiculous. But someone made it, so props. But what gets me is the Aussie sense of humor again in the comments. That's cool, but can we put a big googly eyes on it and a speaker that moans as the sauce comes out? I think we've got a winner. All right, now as I said earlier, moving on to big things. Starting out with Uluru, that's a big rock. Take a look at this epic picture of Uluru in the rain. Such a cool pic, man. There's something about, dry areas at deserts when all of a sudden they do get a rare rain. They get, clouds and fog. What a cool and kind of eerie look, right? But beautiful at the same time. You see the water kind of, temporarily staining the rock and dripping down, and you see a lot of colors begin to flourish in the desert. It's really, really cool. You see that contrast of the greenery and, of course, the red rocks. Y'all know how much I love deserts and red rocks, and this is like the mecca for that. Very cool view of it, and something I really haven't seen before. It's not usually the type of video or picture of Uluru you would see, but I quite like it. Someone took a picture of these big offshore wind farms in Australia. Now, I couldn't help but notice, first of all, these things are huge. If you see these things, I'm calling them things, guys. I don't know the terminology for this stuff, all right? You got to go easy on me. But this thing here, right, looks pretty small compared to these. So you can tell that these are big. What's funny is they don't really look like the typical wind turbines you'd see. You know, I see these all around the U.S. They're usually plain white. These got this kind of yellow or golden bit. And once I say this, you won't be able to unsee it. These literally look like big cigarettes. It's a cigarette farm out in the water. All right, next we're going to take a look at a couple different caves in Australia. They're both really big and quite different. These are called the Genolin caves in Australia. The ceiling is so high in real life, and I'll show you. Take a look at that. It is insane, right? To see the vegetation growth, to see how high that ceiling is. And remember, pictures don't do something like this justice at all. But even in the picture, you can see the slight shadow here. You can see kind of the grandeur of this thing. Has anyone been here? Looks like a wild place. Then we have this cave that I got to find out the name of in a second. It looks absolutely insane. You can see this boat down here for reference. Absolutely massive and spectacular. People in the comments literally thought, hey, or were saying, hey, I'm Australian. I've never seen this. Is this AI? Is this made up? No, this is real. That's how crazy it looks. People didn't even believe it. So let's see. Yeah, I've never heard of this. It's on Cleft Island. Cleft Island, also known as Skull Rock, is a small, rugged granite island in the Answer group of islands to the southwest of Wilson's Promontory, Victoria, Australia. And as you can see, it's way down here, this tiny island off the mainland here. Crazy. The surrounding waters mean high water mark are within Wilson's Promontory Marine National Park. Wilson's Promontory Island's important bird area, identified as such by BirdLife International because of its importance for breeding seabirds. It is partially hollowed out by ancient waves, creating a cave 130 meters or 430 feet wide and 60 meters tall. Only 9 people have ventured into the cavern, finding old cannonballs left by passing ships practicing their aim. What the heck? Adventurers had to land on top of the rock by a helicopter. Then they shimmied down ropes to gain entrance to the cave. How freaky would that be? Right? To me, that's scary, like going to a cave that basically no one's been to. The Australian Defence Force have been blamed for the other holes in the rock being used for target practice. What the hell? Damn, everyone's picking on Skull Rock for target practice. That's not nice. But there is a more direct picture of it. It's funny because people were pissed at this original video because if you'll notice, you know, it's obviously more spectacular in video form because it's so big looking. But they cut the video before they even get to like showing the whole thing. So it's kind of like whoever made this, get f***ed. The 5 kilometer wide central uplift of Goss's Bluff Crater, Australia. Confirmed impact crater. Damn. That is pretty wild. Impact craters are always fascinating to look at. This one kind of hits different though, doesn't it? Jeez. And to think that's 5 kilometers wide. Here's a pretty insane video down, you know, on the ground, so to say, or should I say on the water, of Ball's Pyramid. Now, I have seen this in other posts before, kind of from this perspective, and it does look crazy. But seeing it really up close right by it, that's freaky. You can kind of see how grand it really is. It's the tallest volcanic sea stack in the world at 572 meters high. Somewhere in Australia because, f*** you, that's why. That's terrifying. I'd say that's a pretty big sinkhole, right? That's got to be what that is. It's not something you want to see. No thanks. Well, you may know that I'm a sunset enthusiast. I love seeing sunsets in different places. I think it's one of the coolest things in nature because it's free. It's something you can count on every day. And they can just be so stunning, right? It's like live cinema every night. And while Gold Coast, Australia might have taken a cake for one of the most spectacular ones ever because wowza, look at that. Jeez. The sun was setting on cumulonimbus clouds. So that's probably a rare combination because I've seen some wild sunsets. Of course, when you have some clouds to make, to work with, it's even more spectacular because you get different colors. But this one, the fact that you got such a huge formation of clouds with so many depth, so much depth to it, so many layers, and the sun just bursting in so many different colors over the water. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Put me on that beach with an ice cold beer and toes in the sand. I'm ready. Come on, let's do it. The Funnel Web water slide at Jamboree Action Park, Australia. No freaking way is this real. That is not real, right? You're freaking kidding me, guys. Why? I gotta look this up. Okay, Jamboree Action Park. We gotta look for the Funnel Web. What the hell? Oh my god, it is real. You're freaking kidding me, dude. You guys are nuts. There's an overhead. You can see it. No way. Yo, that is terrifying. Hell nah. I wonder if he realizes that the audience can't see anything he's looking at. And there it is. That is terrifying. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, geez, everywhere you turn, it's scary stuff. Look at this. That is actually hilarious. What a cool place. All right, we'll end with a couple just random Megalophobia Reddit posts because I find these actually very interesting. Big things are either really cool or they can be freaky. And those were a lot of good Australia ones. Let's see what else we can find, and then we'll cut it after that. Starting out with this bridge in China. POV staring at the highest bridge in the world gives me chills. Whoa. That is insane. Oh. There's some crazy stuff in China, too. I mean, look at that valley in the mountains. You would not think there'd be a bridge going over that. Like, you just see that without the bridge, and you're like, yeah, there's never going to be a bridge here. That'd be impossible. Right? How on earth is that even a thing? Ay. Fog makes a stadium look like a spaceship. Oh, my God. That is actually crazy. It does. That is like such a rare, like kind of 1 in a million photo, right? Yeah, everything is perfect about it. So eerie with the sun, the fog, and the way it just perfectly covers up the stadium to just reveal this top like third or top quarter of it. And it does look like a perfect saucer. How freaky. Shanghai Tower. Oh, okay. They're walking out on glass and they're really high up. Yeah, that's a no for me. They actually have this in Chicago as well at the Sears Tower or the Willis Tower. I don't know. They always change the name of it. But yeah, that's a thing there too. And no, I have never done that as well. I'm not putting my life on the line over a window underneath my feet. Just no thank you. And finally, we have this balloon salesman selling little piggy balloons. And boy, oh boy, can I safely say I've never seen quite the street setup like that. My goodness. Does he have a permit to have this to be that tall? For Pete's sakes, it's almost hitting this crossbar on this pole right here. My goodness, man. How does this even work? And finally, we'll end it with this one. I wonder if this is talking about Wellington, New Zealand. You'll have to let me know. A giant squid found near Wellington. With this guy, it seems to be trying to romance the squid. I'm not exactly sure. He's just having a lovely chat or something. But yeah, this squid is indeed aptly named Giant. Holy smokes. Is that big? Again, I will say what I always say. That is a freaking alien. The ocean is indeed another world that most of us are just not familiar with. I hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate you watching. As always, I can't wait to see you down in the comments. And I hope your weekend is great as well. That's going to do it for this one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. I'll catch you later.